get an email from me on Friday with this recording as well as the slide decks. I was already hitting the last couple hours from guys who attended the first one, want to dive in back in deeper. I'll collect all that and give you guys a good package on email on Friday. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Scott Norman, my good friend. Guys, thank you so much for this. This is the last edition of our commercial for the year, our commercial discussion, really. Let's do some Q&A. Guys, you can answer the questions on the back end, and let's get to work. Let's have a good hour. Thanks, guys.
Great, thanks, Gary. Just want to confirm that everyone can see the presentation mode. Yep, got it. Okay, great. All right, excellent. Thanks so much for joining the webinar today, partners out there. We appreciate you tuning in. What we want to do today is kind of give you a highlight on some of our commercially focused areas of our business. I'm the commercial market director here at Snap. It's ultimately my job to grow us more in the commercial area, which really spans a number of areas, product development, partnerships with third-party manufacturers, our expansion at local, making sure the products are available to you. We've got a sales team dedicated for commercial, and we even have a system design team dedicated for commercial. So if you do need help with system design for your next project in commercial, we want to help enable that as well. I think as we think about our business in this space, it's kind of divided into two parts. One of those is like the pure commercial players that only do their work in commercial. 100% of their projects go into commercial applications, and that's actually our focus area, because we feel if we can do that really well, then we're going to help everyone, and that kind of brings us into the resi-commercial crowd, which is those that are doing a mix of residential and commercial. And so we wanted to kind of show and highlight some of the product lines that we've developed really over the last year and a half. We've gone through this COVID time period where we've kind of lost communication with some of our partners for whatever reason, or new business have started up. But we've been working in the background to bring products to life that are really specifically developed for the commercial space, but obviously also work really great in residential. I mean, everything in our business, we try to make sure it works really well in both environments, because so many of our product lines, infrastructure and cable and wiring, and even like amplifiers and speakers, and a lot of our connected products, networking, we really want to build those commercial grade quality, and that flows through to all markets. And there's really no downside to doing that. So we're always pushing in that area, pushing the envelope in that area. But there are a couple of product lines that we have really developed really through the commercial initiative. Like, in other words, if this didn't exist in our business, we probably wouldn't have developed these lines. So it really just highlights the focus area that we have in this area. So let me just start by kind of going over who Snap One is as a company. And just in case anyone isn't currently doing business with today and wants to, let's start at the foundation. So number one, we're a manufacturer and a distributor. So a lot of our product lines are our own in-house brand names. You'll see those in the top two rows here. This isn't all of them. This is just a snapshot of some of our most popular ones. But the only place to get those product lines is from us. We are the manufacturer. We don't distribute through any other distributors. We only sell through our Snap One e-commerce platform and our local stores, which are in all the major metropolis areas. These are brick and mortar stores that you can walk in and see these products and buy them same day. We only sell to integrators. We don't sell to end users. A couple of exceptions with our SunBright displays being sold at Best Buy, but really we're purpose built for integrators, and we sell and we develop our products for integrators to sell to their customers and be successful. That's kind of our key to our strength. Again, we've had like over 5,000 products across 28 categories. So we're not just focused in one specific category. We develop products in all categories that your typical AV, IT, and security integrator will use in their integration business. And then we wrap that around with like all these great kind of store benefits is what we call them. Effortless ordering, amazing e-commerce platform that allows you to add things to your cart, build system designs, save favorites for later, all kinds of interesting, fun things you can do on our e-commerce platform. Our local offering allows you to go into the store, see the products, talk to experts in the store, even do training in those local stores. And we're going to be putting on more training that's going to be more commercially focused in January and February of next year. And then award-winning customer support. We're the best in the business, kind of like Amazon level customer support. We won all kind of awards for this. It's something you have to experience to really see for yourself. US-based technical support. And then all of our programs, free shipping, partner rewards, easy returns, and so much more that makes your life ultimately simpler, and which ultimately leads to your business being more profitable. So that's kind of the foundation of who we are. And then for today's webinar, really what we want to focus on is 3 of our in-house brand names, SunBright, Strong, and Control4, areas that we've developed products specifically in those areas over the last year or so. Obviously, that development has taken more than a year, but we've launched those over the last year. And then along the bottom there, 3P partnerships, third-party partnership companies that we've partnered with and brought their products onto our website, really as a convenience to our partners and give them solutions in our store and in our categories that we don't have with our own in-house brand name. So that's our Yamaha audio solutions, audio and DSP. It's great for bars and restaurants and retail. Our Lona solution, which is a control system dedicated for commercial, as well as conferencing products. And then BrightSign, which is obviously digital signage. And we want to just talk to you a little bit about how to get started with BrightSign, because we get a lot of questions about, hey, how do I just get started with BrightSign? And point me in the right direction on how to get started with this myself. Okay, so with that, we are going to just jump right into SunBright, and I'm going to introduce JD. And JD, if you can take it from here and walk us through the SunBright lineup.
Yep, Scott, I'm going to try to share my screen. If you could stop, I actually added a slide, something else I wanted to hit on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
With you. Let's see if I can make this. Oh, come on. If you can hit stop sharing, it won't let me kick you out.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Push stop share. Okay, go ahead,
sir. And I'll go over here. And I will try to make this go. There we go. All right. So again, my name is JD, folks. I'm product marketing manager here for SunBright, as well as what we call infrastructure, which is essentially racks, mounts, cables, and wiring. So I'll take you through a little bit about SunBright, some of the new racks and mounts that we think are especially interesting and new to the commercial market. So for SunBright, I'll take you over kind of through the basics of the lineup, kind of a little bit about how to pick which one is best for a project. So let's kick it off with an overview here. So the main 3 categories that we have are full shade, partial sun, and full sun. And something that often comes up is kind of this middle area of partial sun. What does that mean? Does that mean you can put it in direct sunlight half the time and not in sunlight the other half? Well, not exactly. And what that means is if you kind of have the sun moving parallel and you're not going to have sun directly on the screen, but of course it's very bright outdoors. It's very bright and has an anti-reflective coating, so you'll be good there. It also has even better, I think, temperature handling than say a full shade model. The other thing is even sometimes under cover outside with just a little bit of cover, it's some shade sometimes, but other times it's very high ambient light. You're still going to want that anti-reflective coating, or even if there's a reflection coming off a pool or something else like that, say at a hotel install or something like that. The partial sun signature 2 may be the right choice. The Pro 2 is full sun, and that means it can have the sun beating on it, has 1000 nits brightness, anti-reflective. It also has the protective screen, so that would be ideal for high traffic areas. And then the Veranda 3 is our newest model. That's actually a smart model. So the Veranda 3 we launched earlier this year. It's based on an Android platform for the smart capabilities. So if you've worked with an Android-based TV, you'll be familiar with how it works. It does have 1000 nit peak brightness, quantum dot panel, 120 hertz local dimming. So what you're getting is the great color of quantum dot. You're getting 120 hertz, so divisible by 24 as well as 30. So your 2 main frame rates, so you'll get great motion. Then local dimming, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get that local dimming, so compared to say the old plasmas or an OLED, but you get the brightness of an LED. So a really happy medium with the panel technology there. Additionally, it has built-in Wi-Fi, so we all know if you're in a commercial environment, it might not be terribly easy to run that category cable to hook up the internet connection for the smart TV, so Wi-Fi is going to make it a much easier install as well. Signature 2, high brightness, 700 nits, and also has the anti-reflective coating that we talked about before. So that's going to be ideal in the commercial environment. It could even be in an indoor situation, like an atrium of a high rise, an atrium like in an airport where you have a lot of high ambient light. This might be actually an ideal installation there. It does have HD-based-T included, and oversee enabled. And then if you do, again, go into direct sunlight, you're going to want the Pro 2. So high brightness, anti-glare, but also has the protective glass. So you're in a sports bar or something like that. They have an outdoor area or even inside where you want something super tough with that protective screen. This is going to be the ideal solution, also oversee enabled. Additionally, there are SunBright mounts and sound bars as well as covers. So these are all outdoor rated as well. So you want to make sure that you have an outdoor rated mount for an outdoor rated TV. So you don't have to go back and replace a rusted or corroded mount. And then the dust cover keeps insects away and some of the things like that, just to keep it looking nice. It'll withstand all the weather, but you also want it to look nice. So always recommend putting a cover on when not in use. Basic lineup chart, but you can see the pricing on the site. But something I do want to bring your attention to is we are running a promotion right now on Veranda II TVs. So as you're planning 2023, we do have $300 off 55 and 65 running through December 29th. So if you have a project you're working on now, or you have one that may be coming up in the spring, now's a good chance to take advantage of that. So in addition to SunBright, I want to talk about a little bit about racks and mounts. Something new that I think would be of particular interest is our new ceiling mount system. So the challenge with ceiling mounts a lot of times, especially in a system like this where you're trying to put multiple screens together, say in a menu board application, is you either need an incredibly extensive lineup where you have to sit there and choose just the right one, or you need to have a concise lineup that has just bags and bags of parts so that you can build the right system, and who knows what you need and what you may not need. So what we did was we created a component system. So it shrinks down the lineup to create less confusion, a little bit better pricing. But the challenge then becomes, hey, what do I do to pick the right parts to make my custom configuration? And what we did is we created a system that's on Snap AV that is a configurator. So what that will do is pull the parts that you kind of see up here, put them together and tell you exactly what you need to buy to make your system. So we have various top plates. That's what's going to connect to the ceiling, as well as we do have a wall adapter. You'll have a drop pole. You have drop poles of different lengths, depending on your application. This mounting box is kind of the centerpiece of the system. It has this piece that drops out from the bottom where you could put, say, a watt box. You could have an HD-based-T receiver, maybe an ultra small, one of the smallest BrightSign players, but also has power knockouts and gasketed wire management here. So it does a lot, and it's also the center point where you connect the ceiling mount drop poles, as well as the strut. And the strut is what holds the actual mounting arms. So when you go through the configurator, it will tell you exactly what you need to purchase. Something else we have are our new portrait mounts. So we have fixed and tilt, and it also has a lot of the features that we've been known for in strong mounts. So things like our the magnetic drop cords, so that when you want to get rid of those pull cords, you just stick them back up on the mount and they're out of the way, and you have access to them when you come back if you need to make an adjustment. It does have a safety nut, knowing that it will be in commercial environments, so that it will keep the display secure. And these are approved for indoor and outdoor use. So obviously digital signage and wayfinding and menu boards are in all kinds of different environments, so they are weatherized. They do have a VESA compatible, they're VESA compatible from 50 to 50 to 400 to 400 by 600, as well as rated for up to 200 pounds. Okay, so I talked about the configurator. Now, if I can, I'd like to kind of show you how it works and where to find it. So if you'll just bear with me for 1 second while I try to switch my screens here.
Yeah, and I'll
yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk a little bit about the ceiling truss system. So this lineup, we really went out and talked to our partners, and there's obviously some other systems that you can use out there. And we really wanted to make the system as easy to build and install as possible. The ceiling truss system was what we found to be one of the bigger challenges that was out there. A lot of our dealers were using Unistrut and interfacing with the various I-beams and wood and concrete in different ways. And, a lot of that's very normal, and they have a lot of good solutions for that, and especially with you using Unistrut. But we also wanted to make it as easy as possible to interface with some of those I-beams and truss members. So we've got a couple different options on our website of how to do that, whether it's a 16-inch spacing or a 24-inch spacing between those, or you're clamping directly onto an I-beam, and then having some post adjustability to where you can get it put exactly where you want. So this system really is built from the ground up. It's not like we just went out and stuck our name on something that was already existing in the market. We really engineered this thing from the ground up with our internal engineering capabilities, and it has all kind of great options for those interfaces for the different truss members out there. And then, as JD highlighted, the tilt box mechanism is really great for storing equipment in. And then we thought about building, a video wall capabilities into the ceiling mount system to where you could stack TVs side by side and up and down. But ultimately, that just became so complex that it was doing more harm to the line than good. So we decided to do a menu bar capabilities, which is essentially TVs lined up side by side, where they're all lined up perfectly side by side with a unique rail mounting system. And so you can do that on one side or front and back of that same rail system. And then you can just hang the number of drop poles that you need to support it. And part of this configurator and calculator allows you to put in the weights of the TVs, the dimensions of the TVs, set your gap between the TVs, and then it'll kind of help calculate how many drop poles that you're going to need, how much of this strut that you're going to need to go between the TVs to make them all line up perfectly. And so anyway, that's what we'll show here, and show you how to put it all, and then it'll spit out a bill of materials that you can add to your cart as well.
That's right. So, besides showing the configurator, I want to make sure that everyone kind of knows where to find it. So if you just come to the homepage of Snap AV, go to for the pros, and then you'll find this Carbon Series display configurator. You click on that, and that'll bring it up. If you're in a list view shopping, at the top of this list view, you'll see a banner that will also take you directly there. And then as you're shopping, if you go to one of the product pages, we also have a link there. So try to make it as easy to find and easy to get to as you're in your shopping experience, because we want to make sure that everyone is using it. So like I said, it's a super simple configurator. You can see here to get started, it's a single button. And then it's a lot like maybe an H&R Block or something like that tax program that kind of walks you through, fill in the blank and hit next. And it kind of makes some of the choices for you. So, if I want to do a ceiling system, simply configure it. I'm going to do a single-sided. I'm going to do landscape. And then a little bit about what you're actually mounting. So I'm going to do 3 TVs. I'm going to have a 1-inch gap. They're, say 50 by 30 and 20 pounds. So it tells me already I need at least one strut, minimum length of 102.5. So I'm going to do 3 of these 30s and cobble them together. And then I need I go back up and I could see, all right, I need 3 arms, right? So 3 sets of arms for 3 displays. You have those. So
yeah, so the top, it'll tell you that you need 102 inches, 102.5 inches of strut total. Right now he's got 90. Yep. So the next button is grayed out.
Good point. Great math by me. 3 times 30 apparently is 120 these days. But right, so it saved me from my own stupidity. And I can't even go to the next one. So I need to make sure that I have 120. So I've cleared that 102 mark. And now it allows me to go to the next section. If I want to do an I-beam, it dynamically cancels out all of the other choices. So I have no choice but to choose
So JD, let's go. Can you click on some of those so we can see the different ceiling joist
Sure,
options out there?
absolutely. So, let's go back. Let's say we need concrete. You can see we have different ones of different
Yeah, the
sizes,
square plates.
round and square.
Yep, anti-vibration plate, which is pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely. Unistrut mounts and for the joists. A lot of these are kind of the same, and then you'll shop based on your exact application, right?
Yeah, and you'll see those lower ones. Yeah, the 16 and 24 inch. Those are really great for all kinds of different applications, and it allows you to move the mount left to right to get it just in the right position.
So I'll go back to what I selected here. So we're ready to go. I need 4 drop poles. So I'll just do 60.
So yeah, it looks like it's calculating based on us having 3 TVs that are 50 inches wide that we need 4 drop poles. And I think it makes that calculation based on the weights of the TVs and the spread on them. And so what it's saying is, hey, you're going to need 4 poles to support the system, which means you need 4 ceiling plates and 4 of these mounting boxes as well.
Yeah, and part of that is because I did kind of a weird configuration. Like you probably wouldn't buy 4 30-inch struts to do that larger project, but the idea is kind of show that it's kind of doing the math in the background, and if that's the way you choose it, it will configure it so that you can execute that.
Yep.
So then you'll come through and you'll go through this, and maybe you'll be like me and be like, well, maybe those 30-inch struts weren't the best choice. You go back, pick the a couple of the 60s, 2 of the 60s, and you're ready to go. And then the configuration would be more what you would expect. But the idea is I wanted to show that it dynamically does the math and will save you from yourself if you're a guy like me that is a hack apparently. So, but it will kind of create the list. You can review it, adjust it, go back. Maybe you have what you need, but you're working on another project, so you're going to add a couple more to the cart, and then you go to next, and then you'll be able to go proceed to quick order, and this will drop it all in your quick order page in your account, and then you can quickly add that to the cart. The ultimate goal is to have a simply add to cart button here. So we're working on that in the background. That may take a little time for as we update some of the background stuff for Snap AV. We'll then have the power to kind of do that in the background. But this will copy and paste it into your quick order, and then or allow you to paste it into your quick order, which then allows you to add to cart. So just a few extra clicks and you'll be good to go. And here you can actually see a little more detailed instructions on how to do it. So it's a great system. We'll be continuing to work on it in the background to make it better and better. So feel free to share feedback. But I think it's a pretty straightforward and simple way to execute on this.
Yeah, and also on the product pages, yeah, it looks like there's links there to the product pages, but ultimately you've got, as the integrator, you've got to own the design of your system and make sure it works. And so I would encourage you to go to the product pages, do your real investigative research there, and make sure that it meets all the specifications for your end customers' requirements. We've got a number of different accessories in the poles where there's couplers and ways to get the wires into the poles and out of the poles. We're actually going to be releasing more products in this area in the future as well, because we ultimately want to really kind of double down on this bar, restaurant, retail space. We feel like we can really take the smart living experience that we've enabled in so many applications and kind of pull that into the bar, restaurant, retail location. So we're doing that with the infrastructure, with the ceiling mount line, with some of the racking solutions you're going to see here, and then ultimately with our Control 4 multi-display manager and other areas that we're innovating in that area as well. So I'll let JD continue going through the racks here that we've added the last couple of years.
So you're probably pretty familiar with our lineup, but we've added kind of I'd say I was going to say more depth to the lineup, and literally it is more depth choices for our lineup. So we start with the contractor series. That's your kind of your basic, then the custom series. So that's something you can kind of build out based on the different components. Something that's new is the 30-inch depth. That's made for larger components, and then a lot of that applies to, say, IT, thinking about larger switches and servers. The FS series, so that's basically a fully assembled rack. It comes in the box as you see it in the picture. So basically you can have it delivered on site and you're ready to go to start setting it up. The Signature Series, again, that has adjustable rails and has the nice curved glass on it. So you have a large number of choices there for a larger rack. And then you have IT Datacom. So again, that's something new that we have 24 and 30 and 30-inch depth. So we added the 24U height, and then we added 30-inch depth. So we have a lot of choices there. Again, we can accommodate different sizes and different depths based on what the needs might be. So those are kind of the traditional racks that we have. Then some of the new things that we've come out with that we think are a little more innovative. So one of them is our new slide out rack. I mean, everyone's probably seen a slide out cabinet rack before, but we think we've added some new features and some additional quality that will be really attractive. So one is you can see that the lineup is pretty extensive, 8U all the way up to 40U, 42U. And all of that lineup has 300-pound capacity, and that includes while it is extended. And when we say 42U and we say 24U, that is the actual amount of usable space. You can see that the rack sits on top of the sliding mechanism. It doesn't actually interfere with the storage of the rack. So that's something kind of new that we've done. We also have it flat packed, so it's easier to ship and easier to handle. We have a top that's sold separately that has knockouts for the fans. But then some of the other unique things is when you slide it out, it will lock in place. When you slide it in, it'll lock in place. We have a lever to unlock it as you move it in and out. Then we also have a second lever that unlocks it so you can rotate it so you can access the back. And there's I think a 30, 60, and 90 click point that will lock it in place based on what you need. And you simply hit the lever to move to the next lock point. And then those lock points are also in the other direction of the rotation as well. So depending on what how you have it mounted, what you need to access, there's a lot of flexibility. It's very user-friendly with the lockable positions, and much safer, because if you have 300 pounds on it, you don't want to open a set of doors and have a rack come flying out at you, or you don't want to have to be spinning it and have the tension on all the wires that are in that 42U rack spinning it back around away from you. So I think those are really usable and appreciable features. Again, some of the unique things that we have is some of our different wall-mounted racks. You can see here our basic strong wall mount that you attach directly to the wall. Then we have this wall mount rack system that has a swing out. So again, kind of like a slide out rack, you can swing the entire rack out away from the wall and have access to the back to do what you need as far as maintenance or adding to the rack. And then we have our vertical rack that a lot of you are probably familiar with for, if you want to put a UPS in there, different switches. When you have really tight space, you can mount it, and it's actually, you can lock it as well. So a lot of flexibility for wall mount where you might want it out of the way or in smaller spaces. Again, out of the way, smaller spaces, disparate mounting needs. Some new things that we launched this past year. So we have the skeleton rack. So it has 8U, 12U, and 22U, but that's all from the same SKU based on how you configure it. 150-pound capacity, which is a lot of capacity to be able to put on the wall. And it is still compatible with all of our wire path and strong components to build out a rack. Then we have the vertical patch panel. You can see that despite its smaller size, very high weight capacity. So if you need to drop in a server, need to drop in a battery backup, it can hold that weight. And then we have the adjustable patch panel. So that one is horizontal, but if you just really need patch panels, you can tuck it all the way in. But if you are putting in a different component, you can extend it all the way out, as you can see here. So 6 to 15-inch depth. It has a lighter capacity, but that's more for true patch panels and things like that. And again, this is for when you've got to find some way to mount something in a closet, storage room, out of the way. These are going to be kind of the disparate things that you can use to build out a project. So that's my spiel on SunBright and Strong. And Jacob, I will stop sharing and running my mouth so that you can talk about Multi-Display Manager.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, we'll get JD off of that. Oh, and I need to reshare my iPad. So my name is Jacob Whipple. I am the product marketing manager for Control4. I've been with Control4 for 17 years. It'll be 18 years in March. So today, we're going to talk about Multi-Display Manager. Through the hardware, and I should have 09490949. Okay. Through the hardware, you can do audio and video distribution, amplifiers, HDMI matrix switches, MOIP, etc. But the controls can be a little difficult. I think we've all seen when you go to a sports bar, a restaurant, the waitress or the hostess or the bartender try and find the right remote control, standing up on their tippy toes, trying to fire at just that one TV so they don't change the channels on all the other TVs. It can be a little difficult to manage an entire sports bar, a restaurant. So with the Multi-Display Manager, we've simplified those controls to just a single page, or simplified it to the point where you don't even need to go into it. You can just press a single button and execute it that way. So let me show you how easy this is. Few different experiences. One might be a game room or a sports bar, a lobby. I'm going to do a fitness room with you guys. So let's say you've got 8 treadmills and you've got a TV on each. I want to be able to control all of them from a single page. So I've added those 8 TVs to the project. And on the connections page for that fitness area, it automatically set that first treadmill TV as my video endpoint. But down here, I can tell it that we have all these additional TVs in that same room, which will allow me to control them simultaneously. And to make this easier, so I don't have to keep scrolling through all the options, I'm just going to sort by treadmill. And I can tell them that we've got treadmill 1, TV number 2, and 3, and 4. So you're just making these connections, telling us which TVs, projectors, displays are physically in that space. Which ones do you want controlled through that single page? So I've added the drivers already, just made those connections. And then on the agents page, agents are pre-configured functionality. So we've got a whole bunch of agents. Multi-Display Manager is one of them, pre-configured because we did a whole lot of work on the back end to make it really easy for you to add a wall for that fitness area. I can rename the wall itself. I'm just going to call it fitness. It's in that fitness area. And I can select what the default audio is going to be. I don't like these defaults because the end user cannot change them. If I set 97.5, that means every time you turn on multi-display in that fitness area, it's always going to go to 97.5. Even when it's Christmas music and it's still Halloween and they're playing it too early and I don't want to hear that crap, it will always play. They cannot change this. So only set these presets if it will never change. You're telling us how many displays are in that space. You can have up to 3 rows with up to 6 displays per row. So 18. I don't have 18, I just had 8 on my treadmill. So I can delete the ones that I don't need. And then all these other controls I can use to size the displays and move them around. So I can set this up so that it looks exactly like that space. That way the customer can look at the touchscreen, look at the TVs, and instinctively know which one's which. And I'm going to show you something here in a second. Video endpoint. So you're telling us TV1 up here. What is this? Well, that TV1 is treadmill 1 and TV2 is treadmill 2. Instead of you watching me do a whole new one by scratch, it gets boring. Let me show you my existing ones. So I've got, say, a game room with a big screen or a big projector and a couple of TVs. And so those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are my top left TV, my projector, my top right TV. Or if I come back, take a look at the sports bar. I've got 3 over here and 2 over there, big one in the middle. So you're adding those drivers, connecting them, and then here you're selecting which ones are they on the interface, sizing them and spacing them accordingly, so that it's easy for the customer, the end user. Let me turn everything off. Okay. So, and I'm going to delete these. It's the problem with doing 2 webinars is you forget to undo what you did in the last one. There we go. So, multi-display manager would show up under watch. There's all the TVs that I added to that room, all the sources that are available to that room, and multi-display. So here you would see whatever configuration that you set up in Composer or software. When you select a display, TV or projector, it'll show all the TV channels accessible to that display. Let's do ESPN for the game. And maybe here, I want to watch ESPN2. And over there, instead of the TV channels, if you want to use a different source, like a Roku, like an Xbox, the bottom right, there's the little video button that you can press that'll show all the other video sources. So there's my Roku, and here's the apps on that Roku. So I can make that selection. And then over here, we'll watch Fubo. And if you select multiple displays and then a source, it'll apply that to multiple displays simultaneously. So I can control all of them, have them all go to the same channel with just a couple of button presses. When you select a source, down at the bottom, in the menu at the very bottom, little circle with a couple of dots, that takes you to the transport controls. So if I need that TV to change channels because the game is over, no remote controls, no tiptoes, press the button, bam, you're set. If I select a TV, bottom right, there's the power button. So I can turn off just that one display. And if I turn it back on, and if I select 2 TVs, did you see that play? I want to see it again, but on the big screen. If you select 2 displays, down at the bottom, 2 arrows is our swap. And that'll swap sources for you so I can rewatch it on the big screen now. And it's really easy to swap them back. Now, single page for your controls. And if you've got multiple areas in the hotel and the restaurant at the bar, I can jump between those different displays, those different sections. So single page, easy, intuitive control. Audio, we kept separate. When I swapped displays, did you want the audio to swap? Were you even listening to either game, or were you listening to music? In order for us to provide the best experience for these types of scenarios, we kept audio completely separate. Bottom left is where you can select your audio. Now, it could be one of the current sources. It could be your streaming services. There's all the channels I've got saved. Or it could be one of these physical sources, your video sources, like the sports bar hoppers or the Rokus. And there is a setting that you can enable within Composer that will allow us to automatically swap the audio if you swap the displays. That way it will follow this screen. So Very simple compared to remote controls and tippy toes and aiming very carefully. But for some people, this is still a little much, especially if it's the new person, the new hire. So we've made it even easier. I can configure my sports game day. This is what we do game day. The top right, the 3 lines, is the preset menu. From here, I can save a preset. I can take a snapshot. So a little pencil icon, circle, that's a camera shutter. So that's supposed to be a snapshot capturing what video displays are on, what sources they're looking at, and what audio is playing. So I could take a snapshot, create a new preset, or I could edit one of these existing presets. And I could change that display, or I could change the audio that's currently playing, or remove it if I don't need it. That way, done, and we'll do all off. Everything's off. I can go to the preset menu, hit sports, bam, single button press. And to make it even easier, I could go to the preset menu, press and hold, favorite to room. And that will populate those favorites, those presets on the room view. So I don't even have to go into watch, go into multi-display and figure out what to do here. Instead, I can do a single button press, turns everything off. Single button press for the opening shift, for the closing shift, to change between sports and news, daytime TV. So we've done a lot to simplify the controls, make it as easy as possible, and then make it even easier. Scott, do we have any questions?
No questions in the Q&A yet. So if anyone has any questions, please toss them over to us. We'll be happy to answer them. But really cool demo. Love how we added the favorite stuff and the preset stuff. It's super easy to use. Great job. All right, cool.
Back to you.
So yeah, I'll take it from here unless you had anything else. Oh, looks like we do have, what do you need for video distribution? Will it work with Blackwire?
Basically, we're agnostic. We don't care.
Yeah.
The box handles the encoding, decoding. It handles the how it distributes. The control for driver, for the binary, for the MOIP, for the control for HDMI matrix, for the Atlona. We handle all the commands for it. So as far as multi-display is concerned, it just cares that there is distribution.
Yeah, I mean, obviously all the major brands, Atlona partnership, Just Add Power, AV Pro Edge and AV Pro Connect, you know, even Crestron, I'm sure we have drivers for all those things. So Control4's driver base is extensive, especially in the video distribution area. So no real concerns there.
19,000 drivers.
Yeah. And we have a question around what is a requirement to be a Control4 dealer. So, you know, ultimately, I think, number one, if you're a Snap One partner, if you're not, go to the Snap One e-commerce platform, snap1.com or snapav.com, sign up to be a new partner. If there's a local store in your area, you also need to sign up with the local store to transact with them. Currently today, we have 2 different ERP systems between local and our e-commerce platform, but that's going to be changing soon. But right now you do have to sign up to be a local partner. But as far as being a Control4 partner, once you are assigned a account rep to manage your account from a Snap One account rep, you can talk to them about being a Control4 partner. And Jacob, anything they can do online to apply to be a Control4 partner?
So you can go to go to control4.com, www.control4.com. Up at the top right, there is a become a dealer button that you can fill out, but that goes into the queue to get processed and whatever. So if you have a Snap One rep speaking directly to a person, will always grease the wheels.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, ultimately it's around your business model. It's around the training that you're willing to go through. How many of your technicians are going to be certified? There's a number of questions that they're going to ask you. We are more focused on enabling Control4 in the commercial space. We have a dedicated team around that, and we are handling each of those requests with care, and we want to make sure that we are enabling our partners to be successful, especially in the bar, restaurant, retail space. And if you feel like you've got a great opportunity in that area where you can use the Multidisplay Manager, definitely we'd love to have a talk with you about that. Okay, great. So I will go ahead and take over the sharing now, and I'm going to take it up from where Jacob has left off. And I'm going to talk about the Yamaha audio lineup and at Lona with conferencing and control, and then a little bit about how to get started with BrightSign. So, up to this point, I'd say like we've really highlighted this bar, restaurant, retail space. And we feel like this is an area where we can take the best of what we do as a company, as Snap One, and enabling what we kind of call smart living. With Control4, it was smart home, and they were very focused on the home. And we merged our companies together. Snap One had a very strong presence in the commercial space, and I'm the commercial market director. We've got a number of people in our business here who've been with the company over 10 years, focusing on commercial, developing that market. We serve a large number of integrators in that space, and a lot of our product lines are very commercially focused. And so, but we really feel as a combined company, we can shift into this smart living platform and enabling that same experience that Control4 brought to the home, enabling that more in commercial applications, and making things super easy to use. And you just saw a great demo of an example of how we're doing that. And with our ceiling mount line and some of the other infrastructure lines, we're going to have more products coming for networking. That's going to be truly commercial grade product lines, and handling some of those higher bandwidth applications. So a lot of exciting stuff happening. And then Yamaha and at Lona and BrightSign are just another example of that. When we talk about third-party partnerships, these are areas where we partner with companies in an area where we know it's going to take us either a really long time to develop it, or they just have a really full breadth product line that really gives us and our integrators more capabilities in a shorter timeline. And so Yamaha is an example of, between their amplifiers, speakers, their DSPs, and their control, they're also very focused on this bar, restaurant, hospitality, house of worship space. And so we've partnered with them, and we distribute their products on our e-commerce platform. We've got over 100 SKUs of their products on snapav.com. Also at Local, you can procure most, if not all, of their products through your local store as well. And I just kind of have this slide as an example of some of the SKUs that are a little bit better examples of what we're talking about here. When we think about the speaker line, Episode speakers, Snap One's in-house brand of Episode speakers, is a really fantastic line. 4, 6, 8-inch speakers, drop-in tile replacement speakers, lower end like hubcap style speakers for those down and dirty projects. And those are all really great speakers for that. But sometimes there's these architectural designs that require a broader line. And Yamaha is great at that. If you look at kind of the center small speaker here, this is like a 1.5-inch driver speaker that allows you to put it in between like wood slats and a ceiling where they want to have an architectural design. There's a recess kind of mounting enclosure option for that. And then Yamaha's line really goes from there, everything from an 1.5-inch driver all the way up to 8-inch drivers in basically 1-inch increments, 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches, 3.5 inches, 4.5 inches. I mean, the line is really incredible how you can really dial in the specific size and application for your speaker. Shallow mount in-ceiling speakers, black and white grills, easy to use mounting systems, really a really well thought out premium kind of solution for that space. And then on the higher end, like the high powered speakers, if you're doing like a gymnasium or a larger bar restaurant, you need higher power speakers. They have 8-inch dual driver speakers with horns that can really drive a lot of sound into like a workout room or a gym or something like that. And then the line array speakers, they have the small 1.5-inch drivers in a line array speaker, up to 16 of those 1.5-inch speakers in a single line array speaker cabinet. Those can be powered over PoE and synced up with their amplifiers. So really a full line of speakers there. And then on the amplifier side, you've got the mini amps. I show a picture of one of those here, the MA2030, 2-channel amplifiers. And then they have some even higher powered amps that are that same 1U form factor. And those will link up with their keypads to where you can do simplified keypad source selection, volume control with those keypads. And then as you scale up to even larger systems, full set of DSPs, fixed architecture DSPs, you can link those together through their proprietary cables. You can also, there's Dante enabled capabilities with their DSPs and amplifiers where you can send the audio system over the network, which is a really powerful feature. So you can really build on this and scale it up to as large of a system as you really need with their lineup. And then the tabletop mixers, if you have that hotel location where they just want to, have someone control the audio live for a small stage, or maybe in a restaurant where there's a small stage and they want to be able to control the audio, those tabletop manual mixers are a great solution for that as well. So that's the Yamaha line. You can go to, again, the Snap One e-commerce platform, and you can actually shop by brand and go to Yamaha, and you'll see all these SKUs in there. And one thing that's not shown here is also some networking equipment. We actually have some of their switchers that are pre-configured for Dante. Yamaha is a really big Dante company. They actually have a minor investment in Dante technology, and they're one of the innovators behind it. So some of their network switches come pre-configured with the Dante settings ready to go. So really a holistic line for everything you need in that space. Okay, and then next is really around the at Lona. So these next two slides are at Lona. First one's on the Velocity control system. The next one I'll show you about their conferencing solutions. But Velocity is their control system. This is a control system that really supplements the Control4 control system. It really picks off where in areas where the Control4 system leaves off. So for example, some of the more the drivers that are very focused in commercial that you need from Biamp and Symmetrics and Clear One and other DSP manufacturers, we don't have drivers for that yet with the Control4 system. And so the Velocity system is a great solution for that. This is a control system that's scalable, it's IP based, so all the control goes over IP. And then in areas where you need a traditional serial RS-232 IR relay contact closure type of control mechanism, they have these little breakout boxes that you basically plug into the network. They're powered over PoE, and you can use those to control those devices. We've got drivers for our AV over IP solution, binary MOIP, along with a lot of our other switchers and video distribution products. And of course, Lona is a full service video distribution product company as well. But it's not just for the Lona products. Again, they have these drivers and they can scale to almost any product in the market that's out there. So, and that really gets into their asset management platform and their device management platform, where they can literally manage an entire campus of buildings and multiple locations and multiple sites and multiple rooms. And so you can, as an integrator, you can have a dashboard of all those rooms and devices and locations of all those systems, and you can program. It's all cloud-based programming, put program in the cloud, do your service from the cloud and everything. So it's a really fantastic system. In addition to that, room scheduling for Microsoft and Google, where you can see the green panel there shows the room is available or it's booked. People can schedule their meeting dynamically as they walk in the room. And so it's fully integrated with that. Also, the touchless component of this. So you can actually program it to put a QR code on the touch panel, and someone can scan that with their cell phone and get that touch panel right there on their own cell phone, making it super easy for employees to use the control system and to really like kind of spread like wildfire throughout the user base. And then occupancy sensors, which have macros. You can program it to walk into a room and automatically turn on the display, set it to the right input, and call up the video presentation system. So really easy training system for these. You can sync up with your sales rep to get started with training. There's a fairly reasonable short training service they provide. You can sign up on their website, get trained, but this is really what I feel is one of the best control systems in the commercial market as an alternative to what you may be using today, and something that we fully stand behind in our business, and are continuing to grow our relationship with Atlona. And we're going to have even more training sessions coming in February of next year, starting in Texas and in Florida. We're going to be putting those on. Keep an eye out for the invites for those if you're in those areas. And continue along that, let's talk about conferencing. We got a ton of questions in our business around how we're thinking about conferencing. And the short answer is we're working on it. When we're developing products, we want to make sure those products are innovative, they're differentiated in the market, they truly solve problems in the market. And right now, we're really leaning on our Atlona partnership as well as Clear One to enable conferencing in the BYOD applications. So this is bring your own device. This is rooms where you want to be able to set it up to where your customer can walk in with their laptop and they can connect to the Wi-Fi and they can display their laptop on the video screen in the front of the room. They can connect over USB to the camera that's in the room and the speakerphone that's in the room. And then they can, ultimately the Atlona system provides all the endpoints. So there's the Wave 101, which is the video distribution product, where you basically connect this device to the TV and put it on the network, and then the computer can see it. And if you have an Apple AirPlay, you can AirPlay it directly to this device. If it's a PC, you can do Miracast and you essentially play it to the device as well. Also, this device is great for distance learning applications. You can actually log into your YouTube account and it'll stream live to YouTube and save automatically to YouTube for students to be able to recall that information later. The Captivate speakerphone is a USB-based or Bluetooth-based speakerphone to where you can easily put that in the center of the conference room table and join up with it. It provides a great 360-degree audio and 360-degree microphone system for the room so that you're not using the cheap microphone speakers in the laptop. And then the camera itself, 4K electronic pan tilt zoom, to where it can actually pan and tilt electronically in the room. So you just put this above the TV and it'll capture the whole room. And then the Omega line, and this is just one example of many of their products that allow the video distribution component to where when the user walks in, they plug in over a hardline USB cable, USB-C, USB-A or B connectors, and then it takes that connection and it routes that over a Cat5 to the TV at the front of the room where the camera is connected, where the HDMI to the TV is connected. And it's the one device that you need to make everything fully hardwired, because I know as integrators, we always want to hardwire things to make sure that the systems are working reliably. And so it's really that hardwired solution that enables your customers to work reliably and consistency. And last thing about this product line and all products from Atlona and Snap One is we have design services available. So if you're not exactly sure how to make all this stuff work together, or you need to integrate a third-party device, Atlona has a design service that's free that enables that, as well as at Snap One, we have a design service for that as well. So definitely check that out and contact your rep to engage those services. Lastly is BrightSign. So a bit of an odd slide, like how to become a BrightSign reseller. So we want to, as a third-party vendor for BrightSign, we want to enable you to get started with BrightSign, which is ultimately getting you authorized to sell BrightSign, which involves going through a very kind of 101 style training course. So that's number one. Once you do that, you'll get a certification note, you'll get like a number that we would need to enter into our Snap One systems. And then once you have that, then you're authorized to start selling BrightSign. If you don't have that, you'll get this pop-up that you see here, authorization needed to get started. So first step is to go through the certification course and enter your information. If you already have done that, you can contact us and have that information entered. And there's information on here for that. And then the next step is, how do I create content? So there's kind of two paths. One is to create your own content, which BrightSign has made as easy as possible through a cloud management platform. And you can go through training and learn how to do that. Or you can link up with a third-party company, and BrightSign has a list of all those third-party companies on their website as well. And you can see some of the links for that. We don't have time to go to those links right now, but what I will say is, like, if you go to the Snap AV website, you go to the BrightSign product pages, and you click on the support tab on any BrightSign product, you'll see this document that I'm showing you right here. It's basically how to become a BrightSign reseller. And within that document, you can see all this information on how to get started with BrightSign, the links on how to kind of link up with one of these content creation companies, or to get started with training. And so that's really the first step. If you're not a BrightSign dealer and you want to be, or you want to learn how, that's the great way to learn how to do this stuff.
You know,
Okay,
there you
that's
go.
it, that's
This is live BrightSign in, you know, in action at our local store. So if you guys see our displays, we're users of this. So we've been part of this, and every single Snap One partner store has the BrightSign technology going, and it's very easy. It's very intuitive, Scott. We've been through the trainings a few different times here, so highly recommend it, man. Hit me up if you guys want to continue here at local.
Awesome, great. Looks like we don't have any more Q&A. So if anybody has any more questions, please drop it in the chat. If not, please feel free to reach out to us either through your sales rep, your local rep. You can contact me directly, scott.normand, Normand, at snap1.com, commercial market director here. If you have any questions, be happy to chat with you and get you in touch with someone who can help you or help you myself directly.